Begum Khaleda Zia, a towering figure in Bangladesh politics, passed away yesterday. And today, the nation bids a farewell to its first woman Prime Minister of Bangladesh. A state funeral is scheduled at the South Plaza of the Jatiya Sangsad Bhavan and Manik Mia Avenue at 2 p.m. External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar has reached Dhaka for the funeral of former Bangladeshi Prime Minister Khaleda Zia. He handed over a letter of condolence from Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Zia's son, Tariq Rahman. Security has been significantly tightened in and around Manik Mia Avenue, and a large number of law enforcement personnel, including police and members of the Armed Police Battalion, have been deployed. This, as a large number of people have been gathering at the venue since early morning. Now, Bangladesh's former Prime Minister will be laid to rest with full state honours beside her husband, late Ziaur Rahman. The interim government has announced 3 days of state mourning with a general holiday declared for today. Chief Advisor Mohammad Yunus has appealed for calm, discipline and public cooperation during the funeral and mourning period. Khaleda Zia served 3 terms as a Prime Minister and remained a towering figure in Bangladeshi politics, with a rivalry with Sheikh Hasina defining public life for decades. Her death comes at a sensitive moment, weeks ahead of the 12th February elections amid political turmoil and debates on governance and minority rights. India will be represented at the funeral by External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, underlining the regional significance of the moment. Khaleda Zia has had a long stint in political history, and she was the first woman Prime Minister of Bangladesh and perhaps the second woman Prime Minister of any Islamic nation after Benazir Bhutto. Khaleda Zia and Sheikh Hasina have shared political rivalry throughout their political stint, their entire career. But Zia is going to be remembered for empowering women, for paving the way for women empowerment and bringing about a revolution of sorts as far as healthcare, education and job opportunities are concerned for the youth and women in Bangladesh. And to discuss this further, I'm joined by our guests. I'm joined by Salahuddin Shoaib Chaudhry, the editor of Blitz Bangladesh. And I'm also joined by Major General Rajan Kochar, who's a defense and geopolitical expert. Good afternoon to both of you. Thank you for taking your time and joining me here. I'll first go across to you, Mr. Chaudhry. What is the situation on ground right now? This definitely comes as a shocker because we were hoping that she is going to be there overseeing the upcoming elections in Bangladesh, because what lies ahead for the BNP now, her party, is now in the hands of a son. But that legacy is what BNP is always going to pride itself over.
Thank you very much. Begum Khaleda Zia will be remembered as a leader who fought for democracy during the 1990s. She fought against the military dictatorship. She was also the person who broke the class ceiling and made it possible for a woman becoming the Prime Minister of a Muslim country. Today, at her funeral, we can see that there are approximately 5 million people. They have gathered at the funeral site, and the whole city, actually, most of the roads in the city are shut down because of the crowd. And Khaleda Zia will be laid near to her husband grave in Dhaka, which is just opposite to our Parliament House. So Khaleda Zia's death, actually, what I can say that this is opening a challenge for her son, Tariq Rahman, because Tariq Rahman has been under the influence of Islamists for many years. And also the BNP is somehow joining the anti-India rhetoric of Jamaat Islami and Islamist forces particularly for the last few years. So I hope that Tariq Rahman comes out of that block and embraces India as one of the key development partners of Bangladesh, because by continuing rivalry with India, Bangladesh will not gain anything. And meanwhile, as you have mentioned, that Indian Foreign Minister Mr. S. Jaishankar has arrived in Dhaka, but Pakistani Foreign Minister was also Isakdar. He was also supposed to arrive. He didn't arrive. They have sent a speaker. So, I mean, if we are talking about the high-level delegation during this funeral, it is, of course, Mr. S. Jaishankar, and it makes it shows a message to Tariq Rahman and BNP that India is also willing to develop its relationship with BNP, and the people of Bangladesh in India actually is with the people of Bangladesh, not with any particular political party.
Absolutely, Mr. Chaudhary. Let me also go across to Major General Rajan Kochar. Mr. Kochar, whether it is Zia or it is Khaleda Zia or it is Sheikh Hasina, they were known as the battling Begums of Bangladesh. They were in a constant spate of political rhetoric, political rivalry. And of course, while we are celebrating her legacy today, she was also jailed for 17 years before she was only acquitted in 2025. A large number of years she had to spend behind bars incarcerated because her tenure was also marred with a lot of corruption and graft, Mr. Kochar. How do you look at that?
Thank you for this very important discussion. I think it's a history of Bangladesh will remember Khaleda Zia because, after all, she has been their Prime Minister for 3 terms and a long periods of governance. The point you have actually made is corruption. I think uh, Khaleda Zia's tenure was marked with a large number of controversies. Firstly, she was slightly more inclined towards China and Pakistan, less inclined towards India, and there was a turbulence in her times with relationship with India. With regard to
Adopt a
the
look east agenda, look east policy. What was the relation with India that time, Mr. Kochar? Was it strained?
Yes, to a great extent, relations with India were strained. India was trying its best to get on with the various projects in Bangladesh, and uh, especially the issue of terrorism, because there were camps on the Bangladesh border on the Chittagong hill tracts, which India was time and again telling Khaleda Zia to dismantle these camps. The Alpha militants were very active in Assam, and they had safe sanctuaries in Bangladesh, but somehow, uh, in spite of all diplomatic efforts with India and the relationship and the type of support India was providing. See, you'll have to understand one important aspect of this relationship, because in spite of uh, not very congenial relations with India at that point of time, India, on its part, never stopped giving any kind of aid to Bangladesh or support to Bangladesh in terms of water sharing, in terms of power and electricity, in terms of exports. Uh, uh, there has been an imbalance in exports between Bangladesh and India. India has been largely exporting whatever Bangladesh wanted, because you see, Bangladesh will have, from where will Bangladesh get its food grains, petroleum, yarn for its domestic industry? It had to be India, because there are supply chain issues in case it actually gets from the Gulf countries or from America or from China. There is a large a cost you escalation. So I think from India's part, and I think the people of Bangladesh also realize it, that from the part of India, India has been largely magnanimous with its support in spite of whatever relations, and it actually shows that the people to people contact, and I want to highlight the issue here especially. Though the government to government contact was not that good, the people to people contact was very good. A number of think tanks and especially the militaries between the two countries enjoyed a very close rapport. And I can say for you in a certain because I had a Bangladesh student whom I trained in India, and and often I used to talk to him in those days. It was almost about 2 decades before I'm talking about. And in those days, he was full of praise for the Indian Army, the support we actually had. We had joint exercises with the Bangladesh Armed Forces. So, and we had exchange program in which our officers used to go to their staff college institutes, to their higher command courses in Bangladesh. So we used to have a very good relation as far as the military to military contact was there. But unfortunately, the governments, you see, what happens is that in case a government is influence of Islamism and these kind of pressures on from Pakistan and as well as China, this relation during Khaleda Zia could not be built up to that level as we had with Sheikh Hasina. So there was a stark contrast between India's relation with Bangladesh during the Khaleda Zia regime and during the Sheikh Hasina regime. And that is why Minister Jaishankar's visit to Bangladesh assumes a very great significance, because according to our analysis, it's most likely that BNP will come to power in the next elections, which are scheduled in February, and we need to turn a new leaf. You see, my friend from Bangladesh is there, and he's quite